I don't know if you know the story that I went viral on Facebook when I was 14 for starting a charity
Yes, I remember this, and this is how
with my
the Usher thing
grandmother.
happened, right?
Not really. It's all kind of related. It is, but
I
it
remember
isn't,
this story, but please tell it.
So I was visiting my grandmother in St. Louis who had
Mhm.
Parkinson's disease with
Yes.
my family. And unfortunately, like she was in her way later stages and she was shaking. And I wasn't even allowed to be on Facebook yet. At the time, only like high school kids were just starting to be allowed on Facebook. A
Mhm.
lot of parents didn't want their kids on Facebook, and I wasn't even in high school yet. I was
Yeah.
14. I was in between my eighth grade and freshman year of high school. But I went on Facebook and I saw that all these people were joining these groups. It was just like you had your wall and you could join a group and
Yeah.
invite your friends to join groups. So people would
Mhm.
make groups like my like if you like apple pie, join this group. It was the stupidest shit, right?
Yeah.
And I had just gotten bar mitzvahed like a year before.
Mhm.
And so I had a little bit of money and I wanted to donate some of that money to Parkinson's
Right.
research. And I said, I'm going to make a group. And I said, for every person that joins this group, I'm going to donate 17 cents to Parkinson's disease.
Love it.
And I asked my grandmother, like, what number should I choose? I don't know why she chose 17, but I was like, fuck it. Like, that's the number.
Yep.
And I invited like 100 friends I had on Facebook or 200 friends. And I said, you should each invite, or, whatever, invite some friends. My thought was like, okay, if I get like 1,000 people in the group, I'll give $100. Maybe I get a
Yeah.
couple thousand, I give a couple $100.
Yep.
And it started to like grow really quickly.
Yeah.
And then like the local newspaper picked it up, and then the local news station picked it up, and I don't know what happened. Like over the next month, it started becoming the story
Mhm.
because Facebook had a really negative connotation to it,
Yeah.
and there was like the story is why is this 79-year-old grandmother on Facebook? What is she doing on Facebook?
Mhm.
Was a story that
Yeah.
they kind of made, and then it was me being like, I put her there, like, um, I was really worried about my grandmother, and I put her there.
A young Jewish brat, I love it.
Like, like the high bitch was like, I was so worried about her and I just wanted her to be better.
That's good
Like that's how,
impression.
and I was like loud, like I just was really nervous and I want her to feel better. Like that's how I was on these. Like I watch sometimes I'll see those clips and I'm like, I should never be allowed to do this ever again. Um,
Stay humble, baby.
yeah. So anyway, I just remember that viral wasn't even a word. So I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know that it's an exponential growth kind of thing either. It kind of
Right.
compounds. And I woke up one morning and there was like 70,000 plus people in the group. And the day before there was like 15,000. And in a panic, I like made the group private and I
Yeah.
never took it on private ever again.
Yeah.
And I called the local news station. I said, put me back on the air. And they put me back on the air without talking to my parents, of what I was gonna say. I went on
Yeah.
live on TV and said, "I'm gonna raise the $10,000 by doing a walk for Parkinson's disease and all these things."
Yeah.
And my parents were like, "What the fuck is he doing?" Like there's no way he's gonna be able to pull this off. But over the next year, I got like hundreds of kids from my school involved. Did a bunch of bake sales. I did do like a little walk for Parkinson's event.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of remember like part of the event got rained out, which destroyed me, but it still like made a lot of money,
Yeah.
which was cool. And that was what it was. But
Right.
one of the things I did was a battle of the bands, like a concert, a benefit concert.
Hell
And
yes.
um, I called the local venue. They told me like you need to get a sound guy, so I found someone to help me get a sound guy. They told me how many bands I could book. All of a sudden it made so much sense to me. I was like, okay, I booked the
Yeah.
bands, I get a sound guy, get the venue.
Mhm.
This is easy. This is
People
easier than
come.
making a movie. I can just put it
Right.
all together. And then I would tell the bands like, you guys all have to sell tickets. They're $10 each,
Yep.
$15 each, whatever they were. Then I would do the whole thing. And I just remember like whatever happened, like it made so much fucking money.
Yeah.
Like so many kids showed up to this show. It made so much money. And I remember just standing on stage as the bands performed, looking out into this crowd of like probably 100, 200 kids. and just being like, this is the coolest feeling ever.
Amazing.
And that was my first show I ever booked. And at that point too, that money that I raised that night put me over the edge and how much money I had to raise for this, charity.
Props to you, man.
So
That's so
so I
special.
was like, okay, it took a year. It was now the beginning of my sophomore year because it took a literally full freshman all my freshman year. First, it was September sophomore year, and I was like, I'm gonna do this again. And by January of my sophomore year, I booked my first like real concert
Mhm.
that wasn't for like it was for business at this point.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was for like I knew it was for a business, but I didn't know what a business actually meant. And I remember like after my first couple of shows, like I made like I was making like 500 to $1,000 a night doing this, which now I know is a lot of money. I didn't know at the
Yeah.
time. I had no idea how much money I was making. And I remember it was all in like no one paid in credit cards or anything back then. It was all in cash.
Yeah.
And I remember I would come out with these wads of cash, like ones and fives, because that's how people paid, in
Yeah.
like these like little like envelopes that were exploding with cash, and I'd have
Yeah.
it in my jacket.
Yeah.
And I couldn't drive yet, so my dad or mom would pick me up from these shows, and I'd be hiding the cash in my jacket. And I remember one time I go, "Dad, look how I did tonight."
Yeah.
And I pull out like $500 in cash that's just falling everywhere. And my dad, I don't think he was mad at me. I think it was like an anxiety thing. He was
Yeah.
like,
My kid's got a lot of
we,
money in there.
he was like, "This is not safe. We need to go. Like, we're going to Chase tomorrow." And I felt like I was in trouble. Like I thought I was in trouble. I was like, "Did I do something wrong?" And he's like, "No, no,
Right.
no. We need to go to the bank. Like, you need to pay taxes on this. Like, you're making money." So, like, we went to Chase Bank the next day, and like, I remember on the way to the bank, I swear on my life, this is how it started. On the way to the bank,
Mm.
my dad's like, "You need to think of a name for your company." And I closed my eyes and I said, "The first thing that I see
Mhm.
when I open my eyes is going to be the name of my company." And for the rest of high school, my company was called Road Sign Productions. So that obviously is how that got there.
Road
Uh,
sign.
Road Sign. Yeah. So I booked. I started booking shows all the time, and I think I primarily did emo bands. Every once in a while, I'd do a rap show in there. I
Yeah.
remember the first rap show I ever did made like 3 grand in one night, and I was like, "Is this real?" And a lot of those people that I met through booking concerts really were like, um, I'm still friends with some of them to this day. That really was the foundation of like me finding myself, building confidence. Like I really do feel like I was this person who felt in a lot of ways like really different, like an outcast, especially growing up in a preppy town of Connecticut,
Yeah.
being super creative and feeling
Yep.
different. And then I found this like sense of belonging amongst these weirdos who played
Yeah.
pop punk music, and some of them would straighten their hairs or they'd all dress like funny. But these became like like when I think back to my childhood, like my those years, like maybe I didn't have this typical high school experience, and I had friends in high school, and but maybe I didn't have this like these prom experiences or these like high school experiences and memories and like a high school girlfriend like a lot of kids remember having.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, like I never got a superlative or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I had this like really cool life outside. Like when I went home, my life started, and
Yeah.
I had these incredibly cool experiences like aside from school that I wouldn't trade for the world, and like put me to where I am, and I learned so much that I think is really really.
Man, do I love Sherm in the booth. Oh, hey, I think you do too. Hope you enjoyed that piece of content. If you're looking for more, make sure to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any upcoming Sherm in the Booth interviews, live sets, new music, exclusive artist interviews, Sherm's Word, sub pack reviews, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything entertainment. Cheers.